There is a widespread assumption that earning $1 billion is a mathematical impossibility without some form of cheating or systemic exploitation. Paul Graham, the co-founder of Y Combinator, has spent over 20 years training people to hit that exact number. He argues that the math of wealth is actually far more predictable. Graham identifies one single driver: consistent exponential growth. The trajectory stays flat, then arcs vertically. Hitting 15% monthly growth yields a 4,000 times multiplier. $10,000 in revenue leads to $500 million by year 5. Maintaining that 15% growth used to require building a massive corporate machine. You needed physical office space, layers of middle management, and hundreds of employees just to handle the mounting paperwork and operational friction. When you factor in the sheer complexity of managing those human teams and overhead costs, the physical limits of execution often become the primary ceiling on how far a founder can scale. Most solo creators today hit that ceiling almost immediately. They find themselves trapped in a cycle of manual context switching, endlessly copy-pasting data, and managing repetitive admin tasks that eat up their creative hours. It is nearly impossible to maintain a 15% growth target when your operational drag is this high. By the 6-month mark, the manual workload usually stalls the momentum entirely. This creates a physical bottleneck. One person simply cannot perform the volume of daily tasks required to run what should be an entire startup team. Achieving corporate-level growth as a solo builder requires a complete shift in strategy. You have to remove manual human execution from the workflow. In 2026, the approach to AI shifted. Instead of using it as a basic chatbot for answers, builders began deploying systems that handle entire sequences of work on their own. This is Layer 5 AI. It involves deploying a network of interconnected digital agents that act as a fully autonomous workforce for a single founder. Tools like NotebookLM have essentially replaced the need for human research analysts or expensive studio time. By uploading raw transcripts and media directly into the digital backend, the system synthesizes data and identifies core themes instantly. AI chiefs of staff now monitor platforms like Slack and Zoom. They analyze your conversations to track which decisions were made and automatically turn transcripts into assigned action items to keep the operation moving. The system runs on skills, simple text files with specific instructions. These allow the AI to learn your preferences and execute complex formatting or business logic perfectly without human oversight. By setting up this network of agents, a solo founder can generate the same operational leverage and daily output as a 20-person startup. However, possessing infinite execution power comes with a major risk. Without a human filter, these systems can easily overproduce worthless AI slop. Generating hundreds of lines of code or social posts an hour is a waste of resources if the core idea doesn't solve a real problem for a real audience. There is one variable that digital agents cannot fake or optimize: genuine human empathy and lived experience. Infinite execution is just a multiplier. It will only scale the value or the lack of value that you provide at the start of the process. This points back to Paul Graham's most reliable rule for building something massive. Look for a problem that you and your friends are actually facing. Facebook grew into a global force because it started as a niche tool built specifically to solve a communication gap for college students. Twitch didn't come from a corporate strategy session. It grew out of a personal experiment where a founder strapped a camera to his head to see if anyone would watch. For the modern builder, AI should handle 90% of the operational friction, but that final 10%, the taste, the empathy, and the strategy, must remain strictly human. If you find this valuable, please make sure to follow and subscribe. Rise, raise. The one-person empires of the future will belong to those who use digital studios to scale human empathy to the rest of the world.